part 6.
The important part. Restart. I don't like that intro. Let's restart.
Alright. It's fine.
Because sometimes I can't hear you on your videos.
I'll turn it up. Hey guys, what's up? Today we're back with part 6 of the Paranormal series, and I have my mom here with me today.
First, though, I want to go back to an episode that you just did
Part
recently.
1.
Part 1 that you did with your sister about her imaginary friend.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of details that you left out of that. Probably because you weren't privy to them because you guys were little kids and we basically just want to scare the crap out of you when we were living in that house.
Mm-hmm.
So we kept a lot of that secret, and there was a lot of stuff that you guys didn't really know.
Yeah.
And some of the details that you brought out in that other video are kind of what happened as far as you guys knew because you were little.
Yeah.
So we only let you know so much.
Alright.
So I want to just clarify some of that. What happened was when the real estate market went way up and all the housing, in the early 2000s was super expensive, we were renting a house and the woman that owned it wanted to sell it. And she was selling it for a price that we could not afford. And we wanted to stay in the same school district that we were already in. So we ended up buying this major dump of a house because it was all we could afford when the market was shooting up. And it had been, like you said in the previous video, a crack house, pretty much. It had been raided by the police. The SWAT team had come over the back fence, knocked the fence over. They had shot tear gas into the back windows. They had raided the house. The inside of the house was a complete total dump. I mean, it was just filthy disgusting. So we gutted the entire house. We took out all the carpeting. We took out the toilets. We took out a lot of the fixtures. And we just, redid the entire house. And we had a lot of people that came to the door for a very long time after that in the middle of the night looking for previous owners. Oh, that's my dog. That's Carnegie. That's Carnegie Hall. Shh. But so we had gutted the house and we had fixed it up. But when we were in the process of fixing it up, Sydney's dad at the time, Derek, had gone over there because he would go out over after work and he would paint it. We were still living at the other house and we were getting ready to, we had like a month to get out of the house we were renting and get into the new house. So we're cleaning it, fixing it. He was over there and he had been painting. We painted everything. We had to because everything on the inside was covered with graffiti. Believe it or not, I'm telling you, don't. So he had been over there painting. And he came home one night after he'd been over there painting for a couple hours and he said, when I got to the house today, he's like, I saw a little kid. And this was after we had already replaced the glass in the windows so nobody could come in. But he said, I saw a little kid. He said, I came into the house and I saw a kid go from one bedroom across the hallway and into the master bedroom. And he said, and so I went into the master bedroom and there was nobody in there. And he said at first he thought that I had been there with like you guys and that I had left somebody there or that we were there. And then he realized that we weren't there. So he wasn't really sure what happened. So at the time I thought, wow, maybe you should open up a window while you're painting or wear a mask, I thought he was a little bit off. And Derek's not the type of person he's not new agey really. He's not really like the type of guy that gets scared easily. He's the best way to describe Derek is he's from Rapid City, South Dakota. So if you think about somebody from Rapid City, South Dakota with the motorcycle and the Harley Davidson t-shirt, that's Derek. He's not the type of guy that's like, I see dead people.
Yeah.
He's a man. So that was the first thing that was weird that happened. And then right after we moved in, like instantaneously, it was instant, Sydney had an imaginary friend, which was unusual because Sydney was not a play pretensy type of kid. She was little, of course, at the time, but she wasn't a play pretensy type of kid. Like she didn't play with dolls. She was always like a computer, Game Boy, tech type of person. She still is today. And she's a very logical person. She thinks very scientifically. She's very mathematically. She's a lot different she's great. She's a really cool kid. She's a lot different from me and Bridget, though. Me and Bridget are more artistic and flaky, and then Sydney, she's the smart one. The smart one. You're the smart. I called you the smart one.
You talking trash?
Come in here. Sydney is the smart one.
I'm smart, but I'm also very cool.
She is very cool. Look at my daughters and me together. Let's smush in here together. A lot of people tell them that they look like me, and they hate that. And then they Google, like, how much is a face transplant in Mexico? But I'm just saying.
Over the top.
Okay, so where was I? before I was
Paint
interrupted
seems
by
very-
the honor student.
Sydney immediately in the house.
Sydney immediately had this imaginary friend. And it was very unusual because generally when a kid invents imaginary friends because they want to have somebody to play with. Usually they're bored, they want to have somebody to play with. And her imaginary friend was like a major pain in the ass. He was like super annoying and he was always bothering Sydney. Like she'd come to me and say like, Mikey won't share the toy, Mikey took my juice, Mikey won't play the game, Mikey's not following the rules, Mikey's not taking turns.
And Sydney
like,
had never had an imaginary
she
friend
had never
before.
had anything
I
like
had
that.
multiple imaginary friends.
But you know they were imaginary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we always got along.
I had imaginary friends when I was a little kid. It was Sonny and Cher. Because they
Mine
had
was-
the TV show at the time and I was obsessed with
Mine
them.
was
But-
Cody from the Barney movie.
Right. Okay, yeah, but this one, she would fight with this kid and, like, complain about him all the time. So I kept thinking, like, who invents an imaginary friend so they could fight with him all goddamn day? Like, what the hell is this? And it was unusual. And it went on for a little while. And then one day I happened to be out front talking to the neighbor. We had these neighbors next to us, Mike and Teresa. And I was talking to her, and she said before the crack house people lived there was another family there before us with kids. And I was like, oh. And then she was thanking me for, like, cleaning up the house because it was such a mess. And thanking us for fixing up the yard, things like that. And we were just kind of talking. And then she asked me, like, very strangely out of the blue, she said, have you ever seen anything weird in the house? I said, what? And she was like, well, you know, the people that lived there before you that had kids, they used to see some stuff in the house. And then she's like, and then my son, Devin, he was probably like 12 at the time when we moved in there.
Yeah.
She's like, when he was little, he used to have like this imaginary friend. And then she says, named Mikey, which is the same name as the kid that Sydney's been playing with. So I'm like, oh crap, that's freaky.
Yeah.
And she was like, and then the kids that lived there for a little while played with the same imaginary friend. And then she started telling me that she had seen Mikey before. And I was like, this is all very strange because now my kid's playing with a Mikey.
And it's very strange for the neighbor to just come out
Yeah,
and
it's kind of
fucking
weird
say
for the
that.
neighbor to like ask you like, did you see it yet? You know, just like. And then Derek had already seen something, like a child go from one room to the other, which is really strange. At the time, I was working a night job because I would work at night and stay home with the kids. And so, you know, went on with the imaginary friend, the annoying imaginary friend that caused problems all day. And then, you know, sometimes toys would like go off. Like you guys would go to Grandma's house a lot.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I had this the pet toy that literally wouldn't stop fucking crying, and I threw it out.
Right.
And then I had that piggy bank, and every time you put money in it,
It would go oink,
it would,
oink,
No,
oink.
it would go like cha-ching, cha-ching.
Or yeah, it made noise, yeah. But it would go off when you guys weren't there, which could be like
And
a
in the
battery
middle of the fucking
going
night,
dead.
I'd be trying to sleep, and it'd go off in the middle of the night, and we changed the batteries in it.
Yeah. But that wasn't the only toy. You guys also had that guitar that like lit up and made noise. That would go off on its own. Like there was sometimes, you know, when you guys weren't there, like when you'd be at Grandma's house, like toys would go off. It was really strange. One night I came home from work and I was standing at the kitchen, and I think you mentioned this, and I was washing my hands. And you know, out of the kitchen you could see into, we had two living rooms. We had that sunken living room because it was built in the 70s, so there was like a beehive, fireplace, sunken living room. It wasn't even really like a sunken living room, it was like a step like this. So basically it was just a living room that everybody fell into and injured themselves. But it was like a trick. It was like, whoa, you know. But it was the other living room, and I kind of was washing my hands. I turned around, and for like a split second by that red chair we used to have, there was a kid standing there. He looked like he was about 8 years old, and then he was gone. And I was like, holy crap. You know, is that him? Is that the one that the neighbors see? Is that the one that Sydney's playing with? Is that the one that Derek saw? Like, that was really strange. And then we had, this is the weirdest part. We had a birthday party for Sydney. And we had quite a few kids there, and pinata, and I think we played limbo and bubbles, and I don't know what else. We had a lot of balloons. And then after the party, you guys went to Grandma's house because you wanted to go stay the night at Grandma's, you and Sydney. So Derek and I were there. And the balloons that were left over from the party, they weren't tied to, you guys said in the video, they were tied to a weight. They weren't.
Okay.
We took them and we tied them all together, like, you know, tied them with all the strings together, and we put them up in the corner by the garage door right there, which was in the second living room, not the sunken living room, but the second living room. And we were sitting there watching TV. And there's no, like, air conditioner blowing or ceiling fan or anything like that. And Derek and I were just sitting there watching TV, and then all of a sudden, this is the creepiest thing ever, all the strings, like, came together, like somebody grabbed it. And it kind of floated down about a foot. And then it went around the corner, which is really strange, around the corner and real slow down the hallway. So Derek and I both were like leaning forward like this, watching it go real slow down the hallway, like what the hell. And then when it got to the light that we had in the hallway, it went down and around the light, which is now it's like impossible. And then it went down to the end of the hallway and it stood in front of Sydney's door, her bedroom door. Just stopped in front of, and so at that time, like, me and Derek are like Derek's freaking out. I'm freaking out. So I said, I'm gonna talk to it, you know. I said, so I said, hey Mikey, I was like, did you come to the party today and see all the kids? You know, and it stopped down at the end of the hallway, and you know it's not blowing because it went around a corner, it went around lights, it was weird. And then I said, if you want those balloons, you can have them, because at this point I'm like, let's just give it what it wants and maybe it'll go away. You know. and when I said that, the balloons went into Sydney's room. So that was really bizarre, and Derek and I were both completely freaked out. Now, there's other things that happened that you guys didn't know about because you were little. There used to be a Taco Bell by our house. I mean, there's Taco Bells everywhere. But this was one of the ones before they started remodeling them. So it still looked like a Mission, you know, with the bell at the top, and it was kind of Pueblo style. We were driving by there one day, and I had Sydney. Sydney was little in the back, and she said, Mom. And I said, what? Because Mikey's there with us, because he's always there. She said, Mikey says that he used to live in a Taco Bell house. And I thought, oh, isn't that cute? Whatever. Small child. What are you talking about? Mikey used to live in a Taco Bell house. That makes no sense whatsoever. Like, the rest of this crap makes no sense whatsoever, right? After we had been there for a while, and I decided to kind of research the property. So actually, we have a big Mormon temple in Mesa. I'm not Mormon, but they do have like a genealogy and like a history area that they'll let anybody use, which is pretty cool. And it's pretty awesome, and you can go in and use it. And so I went in there and I kind of researched the property, and we lived in what they called Dobson Ranch. So Dobson Ranch was like an early, like the first kind of like track home, like planned development, you know, in the United States. But before that, it was the Dobson Ranch, and it was like a cattle ranch or something, like a big ranch that took up like a really large area, which I'd already known that. And it was owned by the Dobson family, so that goes back. But then before that, like right on the property where like our 4 houses were, I found that there was a children's mission that was back there before the Dobson Ranch. It was a children's mission, so it was run by like the Catholic Church, and they had like orphans. So I'm thinking, okay, he's got to come from that. And since it was a mission, that's when it clicked, because she said Mikey lives in a Taco Bell house. So if you had looked at the old Taco Bells with the bell and everything, which is what we used to have by our house, and that would be like, he's telling her, you know, I used to live in a house that looked like that, like the Taco Bell, like it all clicked. And I was like, oh, that's really bizarre, right? I mean, it's really bizarre. You don't have proof that he lived in a Taco Bell house or that he was ever there or what the heck was going on. But another thing that she did was weird was one year she said, it's Mikey's birthday, we have to have a cake. I said, okay. So I made a cake. And then I marked it on the calendar, just, you know, out of curiosity. And then, you know, when I changed over the calendar the next year, I marked it, you know, not noticeably. I didn't write it in there. I just kind of marked it. And then the following year, and she's little, so she doesn't know, like, months, dates, whatever. But the following year, like, right around the same day, within, like, a couple days of that day, she said to me, it's Mikey's birthday. We need to have a cake. I was like, well, who is talking to her and telling her these things? Like, it's really bizarre. And we did, at Christmas time, I went out and I bought him like a little Matchbox car. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, you know what, if he lived in the children's mission like way back in the day, he might not know what the car is. So then I bought him like a little horse too. And we put him up on the fireplace. And I remember the horse disappeared. And you guys claimed that you didn't touch it. Both of you were like, we didn't touch it.
No, I didn't touch it.
We didn't touch Mikey's horse. We didn't touch his Christmas presents. But it ended up out back in the dirt, which was really, really weird. And so that was strange. And what finally ended up happening is I was home alone one day. And I was home alone one day, and I just had like super creepy feelings. I was seeing like shadows out of the corner of my eye in the hallway.
I used to see that too.
Yeah, all the time. And like one of the toys started going off, and I was like, okay. So I went into the bedroom, and I sat down, and I decided I'm going to talk to him just like he's a regular kid. Now I'm just a crazy person pretty much talking to myself, right? And so I sat down and I said to him, I was like, hey, Mikey, or his name is probably like Miguel or Michael, who knows. Miguel, I would guess. I don't know. You know, I said, hey, Mikey, I was like, I know you don't understand this. I was like, but the reason why nobody can see you and nobody can talk to you except for like little kids and stuff is because you're dead. And I tried to explain to him that he was dead and that if he moved on, like if there was a light or anything that he could see, like if he moved on, he'd be able to go to another place where there would be other people that he knew that he could like interact with. And I did this for like an hour trying to explain it every different way that that you would explain it to like a little kid, right? And then after that, that's when
it kind of stopped.
it stopped. So it was weird. I did bring the orb pictures that you were talking about.
Perfect.
I don't know if you're going to be able to see the orbs on camera, though.
You want me to try to hold them?
This one is from Halloween.
Yeah, this one's from Halloween in front of the fireplace.
So if you look right here, there's a big giant one. Here's that beehive fireplace and the fall into 70s living room where everybody almost broke their neck. So, and we painted all this. That was graffiti. But so there's one there. That was on Halloween night. And
These
then
are the two that I was talking
I think there's another one from Halloween night. And
where
you
it
could see
moves up?
You could see the orb. It's up there now. And then this one, I took these consecutively. So there's the first one, nothing. That's just Sydney when she was little and was having her little playtimes with Mikey, the annoying friend.
Yeah.
And then this one, I hope you can see it because there are tons.
Oh, you can see it.
You can see it. There's one here, 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 here. Big one right there, there, right down here next to Sydney. Like they're just all over in there. And my house is not dusty. I keep stuff clean. So those were really bizarre.
Yeah.
And so that's the true story of Mikey, or at least my version of the Mikey story.
And in the
I think there
previous
definitely was something there because it wasn't just us that saw us. Derek saw it, and like I said, he's from Rapid City, South Dakota. He's a hunter. He's a fisher. He's a biker. He is not like some California hipster dude's like, I saw as a ghost. You know, he's not.
Yeah.
Like so.
So that
we'll come
was
back with something scarier, actually.
Yeah. So that was the Mikey story, and we're gonna come back with something a little bit
Eerier.
crazier.
Yeah. One of the weirdest. I have had a lot of weird things happen to me. I've had an interesting life. I have never asked for weird things to happen to me. I've always just kind of wanted regular things to happen to me. But the next story that we're gonna share is gonna be
A lot.
one that I still cannot understand.
No.
So
that was the Mikey story, part 2.
part 2.
And
With the details from the parents instead of what the little kids remember.
yeah. All right, so I'll see you guys next time. All my links will be down in the description. Please like and subscribe. I post a new video every day except for Sunday. All right, guys, bye.